tell, then you see the road. I'm to my soul into the sides whenever the smoke clear out of my face and my picture perfect.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of, What If dannyphantom Meets Powerpuff Girls? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Phantom Fan 21 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. A fire broke out, and some people called the fire department. They found the building and quickly got ready to stop it. They were able to find some people that were trapped inside and got them out. However, the fire was getting better, and harder to save the people. However, everyone saw pink, light blue, and light green streaks entering and coming out of the building with people that were trapped. Is that all of them? Yeah. But this fire is getting too big. We need to stop it. Everyone was shocked to see the Powerpuff Girls, saving the day. Buttercup flew down to a fire hydrant before ripping off the top. She quickly used her hands to direct the water at the building. The fire chief knew what she was doing and ordered his men to fight the fire. Blossom checks on the people, and Bubbles helped the injury to the doctors. The fire soon started to die down. Buttercup twists the top shut, knowing the town will replace it later. The girls regroup before the fire chief steps up. Thanks for the help, girls. I guess you're serious about helping us. He said. Anytime, chief. The Mansons are wrong about us. We not trying to replace anyone. Blossom said. The girls have been helping out around town for the past few days, stopping robbers, purse snatchers, etc. However, they always turn the crooks over to the police, telling them that they only wish to help. The news of the girls helping out the town caused many people to change their minds about them. Expect the Mansons. They started that the girls were trying to replace the everyday heroes, and they need to mind their own business. However, the girls kept helping, earning the trust of many people. With the people safe and the fire dealt with, the girls flew off, hoping to reach school on time. Jazz, Tina, and Melina peek out of the bathroom, now dressed in their normal clothing. Melina fixes her jacket before sighing. Talk about a close call. She said, glad that they were able to get to school on time. Yeah. Are you doing okay, Tina? Jazz said, then asked the girl. When they heard the news, they were beyond shock. Melina really wanted to punch them, but she knew she needed to be there for Tina. However, Tina's bag moves a little before a small head pokes out. Bullet. Tina said, trying to get the squirrel to go back into her bag. You brought a squirrel to school? Melina asked. I tried to get her to stay in the forest, but she keeps following me, Tina said, petting Bullet's head. Jazz sighs, knowing this was going to cause some trouble. Look, Tina, just make sure Bullet stays out of trouble. Jazz sighs. She nods, getting Bullet to go into her bag. Later. Bullet had snuck out of Tina's bag when she set it down to open her locker. Bullet looks around before rushing up the lockers with no one noticing. However, as she ran, she notices something else. Another human, but not like the nice one. The human had black hair like the tough one but wore a pink shirt like the leader. But she could tell that there was something different about her. You know, I do have to admit that those girls have some sense of fashion, Paulina said. Yeah, the one named Bubbles is kind of cute. Another girl said. Bubbles? Please. I'm 10 times more cuter than her. Paulina said. Bullet may not know human emotion as much, but she knew pride when she saw it. Carefully looking around, Bullet got ready before jumping. She quickly went under her shirt, causing the poor girl to scream as she tries to grab Bullet. But the squirrel was too fast. She ran across Paulina's body, making the girl look like a total fool. Bullet finally slips out before running up the lockers again. Paulina quickly checks over herself before noticing a teacher looking at her, crossing her arms. Paulina started, only to be handed a slip. Bullet smiles before zipping back to Tina's bag. Elsewhere. Mojo Jojo growls as he read the paper covering the girls that stopped him. They have been popping up in the papers, and he couldn't take it anymore. Ugh. Cusser you Powerpuff girls. He shouted, tearing the paper apart. Mojo took a breath, knowing that anger wasn't going to get him what he wants. Luckily, he was smart enough to lay low, working on his next MSTR plan. He knew the girls would get in his way again, so he needs to remove them first. He turns to his new machine, the Powerpuff Destroyer. It was to scan the girls and destroy them. Soon those Powerpuff girls, as the humans called them, will lay defeated at my feet and I, Mojo Jojo, will rule the world. He laughs before he swallows a fly, causing him to hack. First, Mojo needs to find a better hiding place. He said after he was done. Tina was able to let Bullet out around lunchtime since everyone was going to eat outside. She gave Bullet a peanut before she ran to the nearest tree. Tina smiles before sitting with her friends. However, Tina was still upset with her parents. They were still planning on moving and forcing her away from the school and her friends. She didn't understand it. Why are her parents trying to stop her from having a life? Jazz notices the upset look in Sai's. She didn't understand why Tina's parents were so against their daughter making her own choices. She was thinking of paying them a visit after school. Hey, girls. All three stop and notice Dash leading on their table. Beat it, Dash. Malina said, enraging him. However, they were all shocked to see Dash hand them invites, no doubt to a party where he could win them over. Let me guess, you want to invite us to your party. Jazz started. And try to win us over because you don't understand we don't like you, Tina said next. And completely missed the point that we are not like other girls. Malina finished. Dash blinks, confused. Let us give you a clear picture. Jazz said as all three girls tear up the invites. That surprised Dash. Fine. Then I guess I'll just invite the Puff Girl Powers. Dash said. Powerpuff Girls. The three corrected him. Whatever. Dash said, walking away. Too bad for him they already turn it down, Malina smirks. Tina giggles as she covers her mouth. Jazz shook her head, also smiling. However, everyone was shocked when a giant explosion was heard from town. Jazz, Tina, and Malina felt their eyes glow, sensing something familiar. Nodding at each other, and making sure no one was watching, the three girls rush away, leaving the color streaks behind. The Powerpuff Girls flew into the town, looking for the one attacking the town. Girls. They looked down and saw one of the police officers that knew they were here to help. Officer. Is everything all right? Blossom asked as they landed. Wish I can say so. This giant robot appeared and started to destroy the building. Luckily, it went for the storage houses. The officer said. The girls raise an eyebrow. Another robot attack. We were prepared this time. We got as many people out of the area, but we don't know where it's going to hit next. The officer said. Good work, officer. We'll check the area in case you miss any before we deal with the robot. Blossom said, getting a nod. No, you won't. Buttercup groans before facing her aunt and uncle. Leave this to the police. Jeremy said. We don't need you. Pamela added. What are you doing here? Buttercup asked, knowing they never stay around the danger. We saw you girls flying. We knew you were trying to take over the police jobs. Jeremy said. Mr. and Mrs. Manson's, the chief already knows that the girls are here to help. They saved his family from robbers a few days ago. His little girl is a big fan of them. The officer said. Just helping making the town safe. Bubbles smiles. That was doing fine without you. Pamela said. Ugh. This is getting us nowhere. Buttercup shouted, noting that her aunt and uncle were wasting time. Buttercup's right. Come on girls. Blossom said before they flew off. We don't need you. The Mansons shouted. The officer glares before pushing the Mansons away. Hey. Hands off. Jeremy said. You two are in a possible danger zone. As an officer of the law, I must ensure you to safety. He said, not liking how they were acting towards the girls. Buttercup? Yeah. Are they ever going to stop? No. Bubbles sighs. At least she wasn't the only one with family problems. They flew until they were grabbed by a giant metal hand. They were then slammed to the ground before the robot picked them back up. Hello, Powerpuff Girls. Though a bit dazed, the girls knew that voice. Mojo Jojo. They shouted. Ah, you remember me. Mojo's touch. He said, acting all nice. Drop the act. What do you want? Buttercup shouted. Easy, revenge. Mojo shouted. You smelly girls ruined Mojo's plans, and now Mojo will ruin you. He added. The girls looked at each other before pushing the hand off them. Not going to happen. Buttercup said. We stopped you once, and we'll do it again. Bubbles added. Let's get him, girls. Blossom said as they got ready. I like to see you try. Mojo smirks. The girls started to fly around, trying to take it down like before. However, the robot swipes at the girls, forcing them to dodge the hands. They flew back and regroup. Geez, we can't get closer without that thing stopping us. Buttercup said. What do we do? Bubbles asked. Blossom looks over the machine, her brain coming up with many plans on how to stop it. However, one plan stood out more than the others. I got a plan. Follow my lead. She said, making the girls nods. All three of them flew at the robot, but instead of flying around randomly, they flew around it together, confusing Mojo. Huh? What are they doing? He asked. They flew behind it before Blossom nodded at Buttercup. She flew up and kicks the robot's butt, causing it to tip forward. Blossom then turns to Bubbles and nodded again. She quickly flew around the other before reaching the shoulder and landing on it. Excuse me, Mr. Robot? She said politely. It turns to look at her, not seeing Blossom nod at Buttercup again. Buttercup grabs both of her hands and started to spin so fast they were nothing but a pink and light green blur. Finally, Buttercup threw Blossom toward the robot, making her move much faster than normal. The robot fails to notice her in time as Blossom slams into the torso. The robot was knocked back a few feet before Blossom tore right through it, hitting and destroying the core. She flew out of the other side, panting a little. Nice work, Blossom. Buttercup said, happy. Are you okay? Bubble asked. I'm fine. She said, showing that her clothes were a little ripped from going through the robot. Don't worry. I get your clothes fixed up. Bubbles said, glad she knew how to sew. Ha ha ha. So, that how it is? They turn and hear Mojo's voice coming from the robot. Show yourself, you darn, dirty ape. Buttercup shouted. In due time, girls. I just need to understand you a bit more. Until next time, Powerpuff Girls. Mojo said before the top opened. The girl looked in and saw it was empty. The evil monkey was nowhere in sight. Where did he go? Bubbles asked. No one knew. The police arrived and the girls filled them in. Breaking the robot down was going to take some time, but the girls knew that wherever Mojo was, they were ready for him. We don't need superpower humans. Jeremy and Pamela were once again trying to round up people to force the Powerpuff Girls away from the town. Sadly, the girls have earned the trust of over half of the town now. Even those that didn't, the girls, were getting annoyed with the Mansons. Sam groans as she was forced to take part in her parents' protest. She had tried to sneak away before, but they caught her. The Powerpuff Girls need to leave, Pamela said in a microphone. They're replacing our town workforce. We don't need them, Jeremy added. Sam groans before spotting a police car pull up. Mom, Dad, she said, making them turn. Jeremy and Pamela Mansons. At it again, huh? The officer asks, getting out of the car. Office, maybe you can help us, Pamela said. In case you two haven't noticed, the Powerpuff Girls are taking a little break from crime fighting. They don't want to take over completely, he said. Good. Maybe now the town will see we don't need them, Pamela said. However, that doesn't mean we won't need their help if it's too much for us. They helped us catch some of the most dangerous criminals that have been wanted for years. They didn't want the rewards for them, the officer told them. Both Manson groans before Jeremy recalls something. Well, as I recall, the mayor is entering his final year as mayor of Amity Park, he said. Sam quickly caught on to her father's idea. You want to run for mayor? She shouted. That's a great idea, Jeremy, Pamela said, smiling. Jeremy smiles, thinking he found a way to get rid of those girls. The officer shook his head. Good luck with that. Now, get off the streets before I arrest you for disturbing the peace, he told them. Sam sighs as she couldn't believe her parents. Blossom was right, her parents weren't treating them like humans just because they had powers. Later. What? Danny and Tucker shouted. You kidding? Tucker added. No, my dad is serious. He wants to run for mayor. He probably thinks that he could get rid of the girls that way, Sam said. Geez, do your parents hate the girls that much? Danny groans. They've always been like this. I don't hate the girls as they do, but what they're doing is going too far, Sam said. And this coming from the girl that hates when the Powerpuff Girls beats a monkey, Tucker said. Sam was about to open her mouth before another voice cut her off. Which said monkey tried to enslave humans. They all turned and saw Jazz, Tina, and Melina walking up to them. I know you like animals, Sam, but can you please stop trying to force people to do things you want? Remember why some of the animals are in a zoo? Melina told her cousin. Sam sighs. She learns her lesson about that. Even her grandmother sighed with her parents on what she tried to do. And what's this about Mr. Manson running for mayor? Tina asked. I don't think my parents will ever accept the Powerpuff Girls. Since the mayor is the one to welcome the girls, Dad wants to be the one that makes them leave, Sam said. Melina facepalms and groans. I'm calling my mom, she said. Sam nodded. Aunt Sarah was one of her favorite aunts, even if she acts a little too sweet at times. Danny looks at Melina before remembering what Blossom told him. Once Melina hangs up, Danny steps up to her. Melina, he said, making the older girl look at him. What's up? She asked. I was wondering if we could hang out. Just me and you? Danny asked, blushing. Are you asking me out on a date? Melina teased. Danny blushed as he tried to find the right words. Sam narrows her eyes as Melina laughs. I'm kidding. Still, you're not like the other boys. How about during the weekend? She said. Sounds GG good, Danny said, shuddering. What about you, Tina? Tucker asked the blonde. I'm still dealing with my parents. They still want to move because they don't think I can handle things because I'm too shy in their eyes. Tina sighs. Danny shook his head. None of them could believe what they were hearing. Danny wishes he could help. However, they were a bit surprised to see Bullet coming rushing up, making all kinds of chipping noises. Bullet! Bullet! Slow down. What's wrong? Tina asked. Bullet chips a bit slowly, making Tina nod. Are you sure? She asked. What did she say? Jazz asked. My parents already sold the house. Tina said, meaning she could end up moving today. What? Jazz and Melina shouted. I need to go. She said, letting Bullet up her arm before running off. Jazz and Melina look at each other and nod. They ran after her, hoping to help. Danny and his friends looked at each other before following them. Tina almost used her powers to reach her house but was able to prevent that. She stops when she saw her parents placing a few boxes down with their things. Tina! There you are. Once the moving truck gets here we're moving to another town. Her father said. She couldn't believe it. They did it. They actually did it. Tina started to growl under her breath. Her eyes flash for a second before she glares at them. I'm not moving. She screams, making both of her parents turn. Tina, we sold the house. We have to move. Her mother said. Why? Why are you treating me like I'm some kind of helpless girl that can't do things on her own? Tina shouted, not knowing her friends had caught up. Tina, her father said. No. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being treated this way. It's like I was never your daughter. Tina shouted. You're not. That shocked everyone. What? Tina asked, seeing her parents sigh. We're not your parents. We never were. Her father said. But, Tina tried to ask. We wanted to have children, but I was unable to. We tried to adopt, but it was too much money, even with our gold. One day we came across a young baby that was left behind. We took her in and raised her as our own. However, we knew that she learned the truth one day. Which is why we decided to keep you in the house unless we had to go somewhere. Her mother said. Tina backs away. She was abandoned. By her real parents? Why? If she's not Tina Dearman, then who was she? She felt two hands on her shoulders and looks to see Jazz and Melina behind her. They were shocked and sad for her but also had a caring look on their faces. Why? Why didn't you even tell me? Tina asked, tears starting to form. Her parents looked down before sighing. You didn't need to know. Her father said. Tina didn't care who saw her. She flew off into the sky, crying. Melina glares at them. She had every right to know. Maybe you two should have learned how to be real parents. Melina said before flying after her. We know Tina more than you. Maybe if you open your eyes and see her as a person, then maybe you can see that your actions are causing more harm than good. Jazz added, flying after her friends. The Dearmans watch in shock. Did they just? Later. Jazz and Melina found Tina at the park, crying. Bullet was trying to cheer her up, but Tina didn't stop. Jazz and Melina landed and sat next to her. Tina? Jazz asked. She didn't stop crying. Jazz looked sad before she hugs the blonde. Melina joins them, causing Tina to return the hug. Jazz? All three looked up and saw Danny and his friends. Jazz looks at Tina and sighs. She told them what they learned, and they were shocked. The three joined them, making Tina smile, glad to have so many friends. After calming down, Tina headed toward the mayor's office with her friends. Once he could see them, Tina told them what her parents said and did. Both the mayor and Ms. Bellum felt bad for her and promised to help in any way they could. Jazz even asks if Tina could stay with her until they figure out what to do. When asked, they said they went back to Tina's parents, only to find a note. They stated that they were wrong about keeping Tina's past a secret and that they need some time to think things over. They left without her. The mayor agreed and would set for Tina's stuff later. Malina even warned them that her uncle was planning on running for mayor, stating that he was going to stop and get rid of the Powerpuff Girls. The mayor thanked her before the three left. I still can't believe what happened. First, Mrs. Manson wanted to run for mayor in order to stop us. Then learning that Tina is not a deerman. And I thought getting powers was the oddest thing that happened to us. Jazz sighs. You know, maybe I should move in too, Malina said. Your aunt and uncle wouldn't allow it. Jazz said. Malina rolled her eyes. Plus, she has plans for this weekend. Jazz, are you okay with me hanging around your brother? Malina asked. Huh? Yes, why? She asked. Well, I'm only a few years older than Danny. If there's anyone that would think that we shouldn't do this, it's you. Malina said. Well, Jazz said, knowing she promised to not tell Malina about Danny's feelings. I'm not against it. If you were 18, then yes, I would be unsure. However, we are 16, and I trust you. Just don't your powers show. Jazz said, surprising her. Heh, don't plan on it, Malina smirks. Tina. Are you going to be okay? Jazz asked, noticing how quiet the blonde was being. Are you still thinking about what your parents said? Malina asked. Tina said nothing. Tina, whoever you are, it doesn't matter to us. Jazz said, making the blonde girl look at her. Yeah. Who cares what your past is? To us, you're Tina Dearman. Our friend. We not going to leave you because of what happened. Malina said. Plus, you're Bubbles, a Powerpuff girl. It won't be the same without you. Jazz added. Heck, I'm starting to get used to being called that, Malina smirks. Tina smiles and hugs both girls. She was still feeling a little heartbroken after everything that was dumped on her today. Lots of people thought the three were as close as sisters despite knowing each other for over a week. And Tina was starting to see Jazz and Malina as sisters. However, they heard another explosion, and it was coming from the bank. Rolling their eyes, the girls ran into an empty alley, flying out as the Powerpuff Girls once more. Elsewhere. A young woman sighs as she took her package and opened it. She pulls out a bottle of Chemical X and smiles. It cost a lot of money, but the owner gladly lowered the price for her. To think that this chemical could give her what she truly wants. Her first thought was to apply to her face, but recalls what her boyfriend would do. The man never liked that she tried to make herself look nice unless he wished it. She even tried calling the police, but he beats her and stops her each time. Now she was able to buy something with him knowing. Susan. The woman sighs. She hid the chemical and turns to the door. However, it opened and she was grabbed by the throat. You little I told you that I decide what to buy. He said, making her wonder how he found out. Where is it? He shouted, squeezing. She tries to speak, but he didn't stop. She tries to fight, knowing that the man was going to kill her. She grabs a lamp and hits his head. Now free, she rushes over and grabs the chemical. Without a second thought, she opens the bottle and drowns it. The man recovers and grabs her. However, something was different. Susan felt like her body was started to burn. Her hair started to grow longer and started to move on its own. It wraps around the man's arms and legs before holding him back. Susan coughs before looking up at her boyfriend. She gave a flirty smile before walking up to him. I think it's time we break up, don't you? She said, having another piece of her hair wrapped around his neck. For the past 13 months, you have treated me like I was nothing. You said you love me. And yet, you treated me like I was an object. You got upset that I did things that you wanted me to do or don't do. Well, no more. No one is going to treat me like an object again. She said, using her hair to squeeze his neck. We're through. She said as the man went limp. She drops the body on the bed, using her hair to make it look like he was killed on it. She then turns from the bed and looks into her mirror. My, I can't go out like this. She said before her hair started to change. It became a long brown ponytail with a few bangs hanging off. Oh. That chemical is something. If only I could change my clothes. She said, looking at the plain shirt and pants she was forced to wear. Well, I know few places I could go to, now that my ex is out of the way, Susan said, grabbing the coat her boyfriend will wear. It was a few days later that her ex-boyfriend was found, but the case went cold. Back with the girls. The Powerpuff Girls toss the criminals at their feet, tying them up as the police arrive. Nice work, girls. Sorry about being late. One of our newbies lost his badge, and we had to help find it. The officer said. It's okay, officer. Things happen. Blossom said. The officer sighs, glad that the girls understood. However, he notices Bubbles looking sad, which confused him. Is she alright? He asked them. Yeah, she just having a bit of a rough day. Buttercup said. Anything we can do to help? The officer asked. No, but thank you. Bubbles told him. Alright, but if you even need to talk, we're here for you girls. The officers said. They nodded before the officers took the criminals and the girls flew off. However, they stop high in the air as Blossom and Buttercup turned to Bubbles. Bubbles, you can't still be thinking about what they said, Blossom asked. I'm sorry, girls. I don't know what I'm going to do. Bubbles said, trying to stop the tears. Buttercup sighs and floated close to her. Listen here. I don't care what your parents said. I know for a fact that you're our friend. Whoever you are doesn't matter. You need to move forward. She said. But, Bubbles started. Buttercup's right. We love you, Bubbles. To us, you'll always be who you are. Blossom said. Bubbles looked down before Blossom lift her head back up. Hey, don't look so down. You got friends by your side, remember? Not just me and Buttercup, but Danny, Tucker, and even Sam. We'll help you through this. Why do you think that I asked the mayor if you can stay with me? She said. Yeah, and I'll come over every day. I'm not going to leave someone like you behind. Buttercup said. Bubbles wiped the tears and smiled. She knew they were right. Maybe one day, she looked for the ones that care for her and talk. Right now, she just needs to be happy with what she has. The girls hugged before flying off once again. Things started to turn around for Tina. Jazz's parents agreed to let her stay until she was old enough to live on her own. The girl brought much lively atmosphere to the household. Malina even came over from time to hang out with her friends. They even continue to save the day as the Powerpuff Girls, while dealing with the Mansons trying to get them to leave. They even continue heading over to the professor's place for training. He always made the girls feel welcome. He never pushed them too hard and did try to make sure they were fed before heading home. He did tell that he was once married, but his wife had passed away right when they were thinking about starting a family of their own. The girls felt bad for him and agreed to at least make him feel happy. Now, it was time for school. Tina had explained the change of address and why she was living with the Fentons. The teachers and principal understood. However, that made the A-listers change their minds about her. But Jazz and Malina always stood by her side. It was Friday, one day before Danny's and Malina's not date was to happen. Sam still couldn't believe that Danny had asked her cousin out. Are you really going out with my cousin? Sam asked. Well, it was her or Buttercup. Since I see Malina more, I asked her. Danny asked. Does Melina even know that you like Buttercup? Tucker asked. Danny shook his head. He was still trying to sort out his feelings for the two girls. Both girls were tough. Both didn't put up with things that Dash or any crooks did. Both were very appealing in his eyes. I don't think that a good idea, Sam said. Why? Danny asked. Look, Melina may be my least hated cousin, but even she's not the girl for you, Sam said. Why? Danny asked. Well, she dressed like a biker girl on the weekends. It drives my parents insane, and I'm not really into the bad person type. Sam said. So? It's not like she's in a gang of sorts. Jazz would never hang out with those kinds of people. Danny pointed out. Sam sighs before trying something else. Danny, do you even know what she likes? She asked. No, but I'm not going to force her if she doesn't want to, Danny told her. Give it up, Sam. Can you at least accept that Danny is going out with Melina? Tucker asked. Sam glares at him before sighing. Fine. Just don't come back with a tattoo with Mama's boy on your arm, Sam said. Okay. Danny said, raising an eyebrow. School went on as normal. Tina slowly started to feel better, and Melina was looking forward to hanging out with her cousin's friend. Jazz, however, couldn't shake that something was wrong. Is everything alright, Jasmine? Ms. Keene asked. Nothing. Just a nagging feeling. Jazz told her. Ms. Keene looked worried before nodding. Jazz sighs before her eyes turned pink. She shook her head, wondering if she was overthinking for no reason. However, that nagging feeling didn't just bug her, Tina and Melina couldn't shake that something was wrong. Everyone then heard the sound of rockets and looked outside to see big robots landing on the ground. Soon the robots opened and let out smaller ones that stormed the school. Jazz, Tina, and Melina looked at each other and tries to rush out when no one was looking, but the robots burst through the door. Everyone was grabbed and brought out to the hallway. All the teachers and students watch as the doors open to show a chimp that only the girls knew. Mojo Jojo. Greetings, humans. Mojo would like to apologize for the takeover, but Mojo has plans for you. He said, walking down the hall. First, your phones. He said as the robots took them. Second, Mojo's here for another reason. He said, stopping. The Powerpuff Girls. He growls. What do you want them for? Star asked. Nothing dangerous, Mojo assure you. Just to get back at stopping Mojo's plan to rule over you humans. He shouted. So, revenge? Sam asked. Correct. Mojo has learned that humans see the girls as heroes. If Mojo gets rid of girls, the humans will bow to Mojo. Mojo Jojo said. Kind of sounds like a lame plan, Dash said, rolling his eyes. Mojo's plan is not lame. He shouted, grabbing Dash's face. However, he lets him go before turning away. Mojo needs you humans alive. Mojo has a new plan, and you humans are going to help me. He said. Help you how? Tucker asked. By being Mojo's prisoners and witnesses. Mojo said, smirking. Everyone was locked away in the classrooms. Jazz, Tina, and Melina were with their class as Ms. Keene tries to keep some of the teens from freaking out. This is just great. Mojo has taken over the school, and we can't stop him. Melina whispers. What do we do? Tina asked. I'm thinking. Jazz said, walking back and forth. However, she was yanked down before she could turn around. What? She asked. Your eyes, Tina said, pulling out a makeup mirror. Jazz looks and saw her eyes were still pink. She looks at her friends and notices their eyes were light blue and light green. I don't get it, why are your eyes pink? Melina asked. It's not just my eyes, she said, thinking on why her eyes changed color. Wait, haven't our eyes done this before? Tina asked. Huh? What do you mean? Melina asked. Back when Mojo first attacked. Our eyes change color then. Tina said. That's true, Melina said, thinking. Wait, remember when Mojo attacked again? We were already in our hero forms, but I recall sensing something familiar. Jazz said. How familiar? Tina asked. Like something was close by. Like my body was reacting to something. Jazz said. Tina and Melina thought about it and agreed. Are you girls alright? The three turned and saw Ms. Keene walking over to them, looking a little worried. We're fine, Ms. Keene. They said. She nods and turns to try to keep some A-listers from trying to freak out again. So, what can we do? We must become the Powerpuff Girls if we stop Mojo and free everyone. Melina asked. We have our clothes, but how will we keep everyone from noticing? Tina added. Jazz thinks. They were able to make their eyes normal when Ms. Keene walked up to them, but they turned back their colors after she walks away. She looks around the room and notices something. Girls. She said, pointing. They looked and saw a ceiling vent. Nodding, they turned to the window. Hey! I thought I saw the Powerpuff Girls outside. Tina said, surprising the class. Where? Dash shouted, rushing towards the window. Everyone started to follow him and the girls quickly flew towards the vent and remove it. One by one they entered before Jazz placed the vent back. When Ms. Keene turned back, she smiles. Go get them, girls. She whispers. Mojo sat in the principal office, waiting to hear from the girls. So far, everything was going to plan. He had a new weapon ready, and the girls stood no chance. Mojo will finally win. All the watching and studying will pay off. The Powerpuff Girls will fall and the world will belong to Mojo Jojo. He laughs. Not so fast, Mojo Jojo. Mojo blinks before turning to the window, seeing the Powerpuff Girls with all the students he locked up were free. At first, he grew upset before remembering that he wanted the girls here. Ah! The Powerpuff Girls. Give Mojo a few minutes. He said, leaving the office. The girls floated over to the doors and saw Mojo walk out casually. Welcome girls. I've been expecting you. He said, acting like they were old friends. Oh, really? Buttercup said, ready to kick his ass. Oh, yes. Mojo has a new weapon to test out. And guess what? You're the test subjects. He said, pulling out a giant blaster, shocking the girls. He fires and the girls spit up. Mojo kept shooting, forcing the girls to fly away when he shot at them. Danny watched as the girls couldn't get close and looked at Mojo. He took a breath, knowing what he was about to do was stupid. Once Mojo turned his back, Danny rushed up to him, surprising his friends. He jumps towards Mojo, knocking the chimp down, and making him drop his weapon. Mojo growls and knocks Danny off him. Stupid human. He said, getting ready to punch him. Only to be kicked by Blossom, herself. Hands off, Mojo. She said, ready to defend Danny. Mojo tries to get his weapon but found it getting crushed by Buttercup. Monkey see, monkey do. Buttercup smirks. Shall we? Bubbles asked. The girls waste no time in beating Mojo up. Sam wanted to stop them, but Tucker held her back. Finally, Mojo lay on the ground, beating up as the girls dust off their hands. That ends that. Buttercup smirks. Blossom smiles before turning to Danny. That was very stupid, but it did help us stop him. Thank you, Danny. She said, holding out her hand. It's the least I can do for keeping the town safe, Danny said, shaking it. Not bad. Buttercup said, flying up. Hey, Buttercup. Danny tries to say. It's cool. And you're welcome. She said, smiling. Glad that everyone is okay. Sorry for taking so long. Bubbles said, pointing to the pile of trash robots. It's fine, girls. Thank you, Miss Keene said, winking at them. They looked surprised before the police pulled up. The girls handed Mojo to them and notices the superintendent stepping out. All right. Now that the danger has passed, back to class everyone. He said, causing many to groan. Actually, Mr. Sean. The robots didn't enter through the doors. The school needs to close for repairs. Ms. Keene said. Well, yes, but, he started. And the students just went through something we have no defense for. It would be wise to send them home. Ms. Keene added. Ms. Keene, he tried to say. Mr. Sean, it's not about keeping the school's popularity. It's about the safety of the students. Plus, their parents must have heard the news and would want their children to come home until it's safe. Ms. Keene said. But the Powerpuff Girls already, he started. Let them go home, Blossom spoke up. Just because the danger had passed, doesn't mean it's safe. Bubbles added. Stop trying to force the students into making the school better. Buttercup said. Mr. Sean sighs before looking up. Back to class. He said. Everyone groaned before the girls flew in and returned with their things, surprising everyone. Head home. Wait until the school is fully repaired. Blossom said. But you can't just, Mr. Sean started. We are here too. And we agree with the girls. We are closing this school down until the repairs are fully made. The police officer said. Mr. Sean sighs before agreeing. With that matter settled, the girls got ready to fly on. Oh, girls. They stopped when they saw Ms. Keene walk up. Yes. They asked. Please don't forget your things. And tell Jazz, Tina, and Melina that I said nice work. She said, winking at them. She knows. The girls thought in shock. I don't know how everyone misses it, but it's not that hard when you have the same hairstyles. She said, smiling. They looked at each other, worried before Ms. Keene winks again. Your secret is safe with me. She said, walking away. The girls looked at each other before flying off. Danny watches them, feeling a bit proud of himself. However, he wasn't going to try something like that again anytime soon. Today was the day. Danny couldn't deny he was feeling a little nervous. He was going to spend time with Sam's older cousin. Jazz even said that she was okay with it, stating that she trusted Melina. And crimes have died down thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. Danny does remember that he also had feelings for Buttercup as well. He'll have to bring that up at some point. However, he could at least make things suitable for Melina. He walks downstairs and noticed Jazz and Tina finishing their last amount of homework. You know, most teens spend their weekend relaxing. He told them. We falling a bit behind, Danny. If we don't catch up, then we'll be held back a year. Jazz told him. And Melina already finished hers. She's really looking forward to hanging out with you. Tina added. Danny shook his head but nodded anyways. Alright, I might not be back until later. Or the town comes under attack again. Danny said. Alright, have fun with your date. Jazz teased. It's not a date. Danny sighs. He soon left making Jazz and Tina smirk. She going to put him through the ringer, Tina said. As long as she leaves him in one piece, then I'm not too worried. Jazz said. Melina Manson. Melina puts on her jacket before hearing her aunt and uncle. She turns from the door and saw them. What now? She asked. You're not going out in that. Pamela said. You're not going out, PRD. Jeremy added. Give it a rest, you two. Melina said, walking past them. Pamela grabs her niece's arm, stopping her. Melina glares at them, causing her eyes to flash for a second. This has gone on long enough, young lady. I promise my sister that I'll watch over you while she and her husband are on their trip. Jeremy told her. And when will you two learn that I live a different life than you? Melina said, yanking her arm away. Guess what? Dad isn't rich. He didn't marry my mom because of the family name, or for her money. They love each other. Don't you? She told them. Of course we do. Jeremy said. Not what Mom says, Melina said. Excuse me? Jeremy asked, upset. Look, I need to get going. I'm meeting up with someone and we plan on hanging out today. Melina said, turning around. You are not going out with that boy. Jeremy and Pamela said. Why? Because his parents are weirdos? Because he's not your standards? Or is it because you think he's not worthy of being our friend? Melina asked. He the main reason our daughter is different. Pamela said. Wow. Mom was right, you are idiots. Melina said, shaking her head. Both her aunt and uncle glared at her, but Melina just faced away from them. Look, all you two need to understand is that the world is not the way you see it. You can't force me and or Sam to see things your way. She said, walking downstairs. Melina. Jeremy shouted, grabbing his niece. You live under my roof and you will follow my rules. He shouted. Melina yanks herself away, growling. What rules? Make me act like a girl that you envision. Make me someone I'm not. You need to get out of your own world, Uncle Jeremy. She shouted. That's enough. Jeremy said, slapping her. Jeremy Manson. Jeremy looks up before shaking. He took a step back as Sarah Manson stomps up to him. What do you think you're doing to my daughter? She screams, helping Melina to her feet. Are you okay, sweetie? She asked. Yeah. She said, trying to keep herself calm. SS Sarah. WW what are you doing here? Jeremy asked, scared. I get another phone call about another one of your stupid plans, forcing me to cancel the rest of my trip and finding you slapping my daughter. Sarah shouted. Hey, dear. Everyone turns and saw Melina's father at the doorway, along with Danny. What are you doing in my mansion? Jeremy glares at Danny. Picking up Melina, Danny said, causing the said girl to remember why. Right. Mom, Dad. This is Danny Fenton. He's the younger brother of Jazz Fenton, one of my friends. We were planning to hang out today. She said. No, you're not. Jeremy said, only to flinch by his sister's glare. Well, if you trust him, Melina, then go ahead. I need to have a talk with my little brother. Sarah said, making her daughter nod. Come on, Danny. You can meet my parents after Mom talks to Uncle Jeremy. She said, leading Danny out of the mansion. And good to see you, Dad. We'll catch up later. She said to her father. Later, Mal. Her father said as his wife yelled at his brother-in-law. Later. Danny and Melina went for a walk with Danny grabbing an ice pack for her cheek. Melina smiles and takes it. They head for the park, wanting some peace and quiet after what happened at the Manson mansion. Danny walks alongside her, trying to come up with anything that's not about what happened at the mansion. So, what do you think of the Powerpuff Girls? He said before flinching. Nice, one Fenton. He thought, cursing his rotten luck. Melina was surprised, but she still smiled. Unlike my uncle and aunt, I don't mind them. So what if they have powers? They're not using them to destroy the town. Uncle Jeremy and Aunt Pamela just can't see that they are people like us. Sure, they can fly and shoot lasers out of their eyes, but that doesn't make them different. Melina said. That's true. I do have a crush on Buttercup. Danny said before slapping his hand over his mouth. Idiot. Why did you say that? He thought. Did Danny just say that he has a crush on Buttercup? Melina thought surprised. Sorry. The Fenton luck. My family is known to blurt things out without meaning to. Danny said, not wanting her to be upset. It's okay. I like Buttercup. Melina said. You do? Danny asked, surprised. Sure. She's my favorite. She kicks ass and doesn't deal with the stupid things that some people do. I am a little jealous of her, though. Melina said. Why? Danny asked. Come on, Danny, you've seen her powers. I mean, how awesome would it be to fly? Or being able to shoot lasers out of my eyes. Okay, maybe not that last one, but you see my point. And let's not forget how strong she is. I mean, you see the way she punches those robots. Melina said, making sure Danny doesn't know that she was Buttercup. I guess so. I might be a bit freaked out about my powers when I first learn about them. But I'm sure I'll get used to them and see how cool they are. Danny said. How's your cheek? Danny asked. Melina knew her cheek was already healed. The girls discover that they had super healing abilities, meaning they can heal from anything in a few short minutes. Unless it was life-threatening. It's fine. Thanks for the ice pack. She said, tossing the pack away. So, anywhere else you want to go? Danny asked. How about the music store? Melina said. Sure, there's a new Humpty Dumpty CD that's coming out, Danny said. Oh. You listen to them too? Melina asked. Yeah. Me, Tucker, and Sam go to their live concerts whenever they're in town. Danny said. Sweet. You got to invite me and the others one day. Melina said. Not too sure about jazz. Most people think she like music with her nickname in them. And I rarely see her listening to music. Not sure about Tina, though. Danny said. Melina rolled her eyes and smiled. She work on that later, right now it was time to hit the music store. Music store. Ah yeah. Metal scream. This will drive Uncle Jeremy nuts for weeks. Melina said, smirking. Wow, Sam told me you were like the bad girl type, Danny said. Let's just say my dad's a former biker. The group he was part of were good friends of his, and they were fine with him marrying my mom. This jacket was a gift from them when I turned 14. Melina said. Your mom married a biker? Danny asked, surprised. Yep. Mom loves riding on the back of his bike. She told me that she likes the feeling of the wind on her face. It was like she could feel her old life get left behind as she welcomes a new one. Melina said, remembering the first time she asked her parents what it was like to ride a motorcycle. Sounds nice. I don't even have a license. Let alone a motorcycle. Danny said. Hey, it's cool. You don't have to be a biker to impress me. Mom doesn't love my dad because he's a biker. It's because he treated her like a person. Same how I want to be treated. I don't care if I come from a rich family. Who said money is everything? Heck, if I could, I'll buy the whole music store. Melina said. Sounds like you have a pretty normal life, Danny said. It's pretty boring, actually. Until I came here and meet Jazz and Tina. I'm surprised how fast we hit it off. And yet, I feel like I wouldn't change anything in the world for that. Melina said, smiling. Yeah, I'm the same way with Sam and Tucker. I knew them all my childhood, and I know I can trust them with some things. Danny said. Some things? Melina repeated. Well, I have to keep some secrets to myself, don't I? Danny asked, smirking. Heh, true. Melina laughs. Wow, he's so much like my dad. I guess that's why I like him. Danny is a pretty cool guy. She thought. Both she and Danny grabbed the CDs they wanted and soon left. Only for Danny to be pushed aside by Dash. Hey there. Want to grab a smoothie? He asked, placing his arm around Melina's shoulders. 1. Get your arm off me, and 2. Not if you were the last man on Earth. She growls, pushing Dash off her, remembering to watch her strength. She turns and helps Danny up, only for Dash to push him aside again. Come on. I know a great place that we can, he started. Beat it, Baxter. I'm hanging out with Danny. Melina shouted. Fenton. Ha. Good one. Dash laughs. Melina growls, and her eyes glowed green for a second. She grabs Dash by his jacket, and threw him into the nearby trash can. A few people couldn't help but laugh at that. Stupid moron. Who does he think he is? Melina groans. The top quarterback of the Casper High and the one who does no wrong because he's on top of the food chain. Danny sighs. Melina rolled her eyes. However, she soon smiles and grabs Danny's arm. Come on, I want to hit the gym next. She said. You want to be a bodybuilder? Danny asked. No, I just like keeping in shape. Mom is perfectly fine with it. She said that a sweet girl like me needs to be tough. Melina said before glaring at him. You tell anyone I said that, I will knock your teeth out, got it? She warned him. Sure. My lips are sealed. Danny said, acting like he was zipping his mouth shut. Melina rolled her eyes and smiled. This wasn't turning out to be a bad day after all. Hurry. We can't let them get us. Will you stop backseat driving? A group of crooks was in their getaway car, more worried about something else other than the police. I don't see them. Then keep driving. They drove until they saw the edge of the town. Thinking that they were home free, they relaxed. Thank God. The driver said. We made it. One of the crooks said. Where are you going? Someplace far from here. Another crook said before noticing that none of the others said that. He slowly turns to the window before seeing Blossom flying next to their car. He screams, shocking the others before the driver floored it. However, they could move. He looks in the review mirror and notices Buttercup holding on to the back. The crook didn't bother to grab the money, they got out of the car and tried to run for it. However, they were all stopped and caught by Bubbles. The girls smiled before taking the crooks, the money, and the car to the police. The officers saw them and took the crooks and the money instead. Thanks again, girls. An officer said. Anytime, officer. Happy to help. Blossom said, shaking his hand. We'll take of things here. And to warn you, the Mansons are trying to start a campaign to force you girls out of town. He said. Buttercup couldn't help but growls as she facepalms herself. Even after her mother took her and Sam from her uncle, he and her aunt were still trying to get rid of them. They won't. Yes, some people still don't like us, but they also know we don't mean any harm. They can't force us to leave the town we live in because of our powers. Blossom said, sighing. Sadly, I don't think they'll ever understand. The officer said, sighing. Buttercup shook her head before the girls heard the sound of the school bell, shocking them. Sorry, officer. But we got to fly. Blossom said before all three flew off. Teenagers. Always in a rush. Wonder if my daughter would love to meet them. The officer said, chuckling. Casper High. Jazz, Tina, and Melina made it just in time before the late bell rang. They rushed into their classroom before taking their seats. Ms. Keene smiles, knowing that they were out saving the day. Still, she couldn't let them off because of that. However, it was time for something else. Alright class, I discover we have 2 new students joining us today. I asked you to give them a warm welcome, she said before the door opened. The watch as a shy girl tries to step in before she is pushed aside by a redhead, who carries a huge air of pride around her. The shy girl sighs and steps in after the redhead. Class, these are Jennifer Mars and Claria Carlson. They were both signed to this class. Can you girls tell us about yourself? Ms. Keene asked. As you can all guess, I'm the daughter of Chalra Mars, the CEO of the Mars Weapons Manufacturing Company. Daddy wanted me to come to school and I decided to try this school, she said, sounding proud of herself. The A-listers all like her and were going over plans to add her to their group. My name is Claria Carlson. My dad is a police officer. I'm also a fan of the, she started. Yawn. Who cares? Jennifer said. Now Ms. Mars, it's very rude to interpret your fellow classmate. Regardless of who your father is, I will give you detention if you don't behave. Ms. Keene said. Jennifer rolled her eyes before taking her seat. Claria looks down and the girls felt bad for her. Tina understood how she felt. The girls looked at each other and nodded. Later. Claria stood by her locker, looking around. Lots of people were walking around or just talking. She looks down and sighs. Hey there. She looks up and saw Jazz, Tina, and Melina standing by her locker, surprising her a bit. You're Claria, right? I'm Jazz and these are my friends, Tina and Melina, she said. Hi. Claria said, a little confused. Nice to meet you. It's always great meeting someone new, Tina said, happily. Sorry about that. Tina could be a bit bubbly when she's happy, Melina said, rolling her eyes. Claria said, unsure. By the way, what were you trying to say in class? You know when Ms. Keene asks to tell us about yourself. Something about a fan of something? Tina asked. Oh. It's nothing. It's silly, really, she said, looking away. Oh, it can't be that silly, Melina said. We would tell anyone if you wish, Tina said. On hold girls. We're kind of forcing her into a tough spot. Let's give her some room, Jazz said, noticing how uncomfortable Clara was. Sorry, they said. Look, Claria, we won't force you, but when you feel ready, let us know, Jazz said. Clara was a little surprised, but she nodded. Anyways, do you need help finding your next class? Melina asked. Sort of. Who's Ms. Tetzlaff? She asked. Oh boy. Jazz sighs, knowing how tough she can be. If it wasn't for their powers, Jazz, Tina, and Melina would collapse each time. Even Melina couldn't handle Ms. Tetzlaff's lessons. After gym class. Ugh. Who's the genius that hired that monster? One should not be worked to the bone. Jennifer groans. Clara walks out, almost falling as her legs gave out. She was caught by Melina, who placed her arm over her shoulder. And now you understand why she doesn't hold back, she said. What was she trying to do? Kill us? Claria asked. Not sure. Melina sighs. We're kind of used to it, but even we have our limits, Jazz said, getting a drink of water. The school has tried to get her to tone down her lessons, but she doesn't bother, Tina said. And newbies get no exception, Melina added. Well, what she's doing is wrong. If she's not careful, someone could die from a heart attack or get really hurt. My dad wouldn't want to come here and find that I can barely move because of that, Claria said, shaking her head. Yeah, a lot of parents have tried. She just keeps doing it. Malina sighs. She does care about the students through. When the school was attacked 2 weeks ago, she tries to fight off the robots to keep the students safe. Tina brought up. I heard of that. Did a monkey really take over? Claria asked. Yep. The girls nodded. It's all part of his plan to draw out the Powerpuff Girls, Malina said as they walked down the hall. Claria looked surprised before looking down. I'm a fan. What? Malina asked, barely catching what she said. I'm a Powerpuff fan, Claria said. That surprised the girls. They were fully aware that they had fans that called themselves the Powerpuff fans. Even the clothes they wore started to become more famous, though the owner noticed that they were wearing their Fusion Fall series. They ever started to get more colors coming out. So, who's your favorite? Malina asked. Claria said, unsure. I like Buttercup. Malina said. Bubbles for me. Tina smiled. Blossom is my go-to girl. Jazz added. Claria looks away before biting her bottom lip. All three. She said. Wait, all three of them? Really? Malina asked. I feel that it's unfair to choose one when all three of them work as a team, Claria said. The girls looked at each other and smiled. That's cool. We have our own reasons for liking the girls we choose. Malina said. But that doesn't mean we dislike the other two, Tina added. It's fine if you like all three. Jazz told her. Why are you being so nice to me? Claria asked. Because we understand how you feel. Jazz said. Yeah. Before the three of us even met, we were alone. No friends before that. Malina said. And I was just as shy as you when I first met everyone, Tina added. We just want to let you know that you do have friends here and that other girl is someone we don't like. Jazz told her. Claria smiles. Maybe they could be her friends. How are your legs? Malina asked, reminding everyone that she was carrying her. Claria could feel her legs and was able to walk by herself. I'm still going to tell my dad about Ms. Tetzlaff. She said. Good luck with that, Malina said. After school. Clara was surprised when she saw her father pull up. It was also the same officer that spoke to the girls when they dropped off the crooks this morning. Claria. Good to see you, sweetheart. He said, hugging her. Dad. Clara blushed. Her father laughs before messing up her hair. What are you doing here? She asked. I came to report that one of the teachers for the school has been injured. Strange thing is, the witness said that the one that saved her used her hair to do so. He said. Her hair? Claria asked. Yeah. A little too strange, but when you got a talking monkey trying to rule over people and 3 superpowered teams, you start getting used to the weirdness. He added, shrugging. Dad? Claria said, breaking him from his thoughts. Yes. He answered. I, meet some new people and I want to hang out with them today. Is that okay? She asked. Her father smiles before hugging her again. Of course. I knew sending you here would help. Go hang out with your friends. But please remember to be home by 10. He told her. Claria smiles and nods. She turned to see Jazz, Tina, and Malina walking down the street and rushed up to them. The 3 were surprised at first but gladly welcome her. The officer smiles before sighing. She's different from her mother. He said, heading into the school. Little did they know, someone was watching them. Claria. I see you decide to live a normal life. That's fine. As long as you're safe, then I don't have to worry. Still, I need to be careful. If the Powerpuff Girls learn about me, then I might not be able to stop the one behind this. she said, looking at the officer that spoke to a few teachers. Richard. I'm sorry. We were both young and foolish, but thank you for watching over our daughter. The woman said before turning away. Things have been quiet. Claria quickly become part of the group and Jennifer had fully joined the A-listers. Crime has died down for some time, but the police were finding more hurt men, and there have been sightings of a few robberies. So far, the police were confused and lost. The chief was starting to wonder if he should call the Powerpuff Girls for help, but no one knew how to get in contact with them. The girls themselves were getting ready for a sleepover at Jazz's place. None of them had a sleepover before and they wanted to try it out. They even invited Claria, but she was unable to because her father was working overnight and she had to watch over the house. Jazz placed down some blankets as Melina got an air mattress ready. Tina walked in, carrying some makeup that they could try. Come on, Tina, serious? Melina asked. You don't have to wear it for the whole night. She told her. Come on, Melina. We agreed to try everything. You can wash it off when you're done. Jazz reminds her. They heard a knock and looked up to see Danny carrying a few snacks. Sorry about that. I had to get these away from Dad. He said, sitting some chips, drinks, and cookies down. It's fine, Danny. Jazz smiles. I also brought a few movies. Even the one that me and my friends like. Danny said, handing the movies over. The Dead Teacher series. Really? Jazz asked, holding up the movies. What? I thought you like horror. Danny smirks. Jazz rolled her eyes as Melina giggled. I'm not good with horror, Tina added. It's okay, just pretend that you're one of the Powerpuff Girls, and you can beat up those monsters, Danny told her. You have no idea how close you are to the truth. All three girls thought. With that, Danny bid them a good night, and headed for his room. The girls changed into their PJs, which were the same colors as their heroine clothes. You know, Jazz, you don't strike me as a pink-wearing girl, Melina said. Oh, I'm nothing like Paulina. Let's just say I have grown to like pink differently. Jazz told her friends. The night went on just fine. They watch a few movies, snacking on the chips and cookies. They drink the cold milk and some water to waste it down before heading to the makeup. Melina put up a fight for a few minutes before she gave up. Though she didn't admit it out loud, she thought she did look pretty when her hair was brushed and she had little makeup on. Tina couldn't help but tease that Danny would like her that way. It was starting to get late and the girls were starting to get tired. Melina already washed her makeup off before helping Jazz clean up her room. Well, this is nice. I feel like a little girl. Jazz said. Same here. Sleepovers are so much fun. Tina said, clapping. Heh, and I thought sleeping with Sam was boring. This is way more fun. Melina added. Smiling. Jazz and Tina giggled. Jazz was about to turn off the TV when the news came on. This is Tiffany Snow with an update. The police are still looking for the hair thief. Rumors have it that a strange woman has been stealing some clothing and makeup stories. It confuses the police to no end, and they decide to ask the Powerpuff Girls for help. If you're watching girls, the police need your help and a way to contact you. The three looked at each other. That never crosses their minds. Most of the time, they were lucky to witness the crimes and even heard the explosions. They recall hearing that Clara's father was working an all-nighter and knew the police station was still open. After checking that everyone else was in bed, the girls made it look like their beds were being slept in before changing into the Powerpuff Girls. They knew everyone in town was asleep and didn't have to worry about someone seeing them. They flew out, heading toward the police station. The chief sighs as Claria's father walked in. Are you alright, Chief? He asked. I'm fine. I would normally be at home, reading my daughter a bedtime story. He said. Isn't she getting a little old for that? Claria's father joked. Watch it, my daughter loves to be a Powerpuff girl, and she beats me up whenever I do something evil like stay here all night. The chief joked back. Claria's father laughs before one of the other officers rushes up to them. Chief! The Powerpuff girls are here, he said, shocking the two. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup stood in the main lobby, noticing a few crooks glaring at them. When we get out, you girls will pay. One said. Bring it on. I'll be glad to knock a few more teeth out. Buttercup said, pounding her fist into her palm. Buttercup, Blossom sighs, shaking her head. Girls! I didn't expect to see you. The chief said, walking up to them. Sorry for coming in so late, Chief. We just heard the news, and we're thinking of a way for you to call us. Blossom said. Maybe a kind of Powerpuff hotline? Bubbles asked. Everyone looks at her before shaking their heads. You weird, Bubbles. Buttercup said. Anyways, what can you tell us about the person that leaving you confused? Blossom asked. The chief nods and goes over everything he learned. He mentions that the person behind the robberies walks into the stores and tries some of the clothes or makeup out. However, a different person leaves wearing the items. At first, they thought it was some work of a gang, but they discovered that it was the same person each time. They, somehow, keep changing their looks. They seem to dye their hair really fast and even change their eye color. However, the police searched the area, they found no hair dye or color lens laying around. Whoever it was, they were able to change their hair and eyes colors at no time. Blossom crossed her arms. Thinking about that. That was new to her and the others too. Geez, no wonder you guys can't find them. Buttercup groans. What do we do? Bubbles asked. Is there anything that the thief likes the most? Blossom asked. That's the thing, he or she only goes after the new clothes and makeup. But even now and then, they take some of last year's clothes. This person doesn't have much of a pattern. The chief said. The girls looked at each other, understanding why the police were lost on this. Well, we keep an eye out for anything. Sadly, we were about to go to bed when we heard the news. Even superheroines need to rest. Blossom said. Not a problem at all, girls. If you do find out who's behind the thief or find some way to figure out how we can call you, please let us know. The chief said. Will do. Good night, Chief. Blossom said before the girls started to leave. However, when they started to pass Claria's father, Blossom stops and hands him a paper with their names. For your daughter. She said, smiling. He looked surprised before nodding. He took the paper and smiled. With that, the Powerpuff girls soon left. The next day. Jazz yawns as she and her friends walked downstairs. Instead of heading back to her home, the girls spent most of the night looking for clues. It wasn't until almost sunrise that they finally headed back to Fenton Works. They were able to get a few hours of sleep before Danny had to wake them up, due to a promise he made to Jazz. Tina's long blonde hair swung with each step as Malina didn't bother with her messy hair. The girls grabbed 3 bowls before getting their cereal. Wow! You girls must have had fun last night. Jack said, seeing them. Yeah, lots of fun. Jazz said as she ate. It's a good thing it's the weekend, Tina added. Yeah, wahoo, Malina said, tiredly. If you need some more sleep, you could have told me, Jazz, Danny said, feeling a bit bad for them. We'll be fine, Danny. A nice hot shower will wake us up. Jazz said. And few more Z's, Malina added. After breakfast, the girls clean up and got ready for the day. They soon left Fenton Works, finding a place to hide to become the Powerpuff Girls once again. However, they decide to go see the professor to see if he could help them. I see. Are you sure you girls have no idea who's behind it? The professor asked. We searched for some clues last night, but found nothing, Blossom said. We also miss out on a lot of sleep. Buttercup yawns, drinking some coffee. That does sound strange. The professor said, thinking. So, what now? Bubbles asked. I've been thinking about something you girls told me. About how you feel when someone like Mojo is close by. You girls stated that just before Mojo appears, your bodies react to something that feels familiar, yes? He asked, getting a nod from all three. If memory serves me right, you three said that chemical X is the source of your powers. What if the chemical in your bodies is reacting to the chemical inside the other bodies? The professor said. Wait, are you saying that we're not the only ones with chemical X in us? Bubbles asked. But that can't be. My parents only made one chemical, and we got covered in it. Blossom said. Are you sure? The professor asked. Blossom thought about it before remembering something. When they woke up, the thief was nowhere in sight. Then that means. The thief must have got some of the chemical X. She shouted, shocked. And that thief must have given his boss the chemical to use for his own reasons. Mojo is proof that your family is not the only ones with chemical X. Sadly, the thief was already captured, but only referred to his boss as the MSTR. The professor said. The girls started to think. As much as they wanted to question the thief themselves, they knew it would give them away. It was better for people to not know who they were. So there's someone in the shadows trying to use my family's chemical for their own reasons. And he calls himself, the MSTR. Blossom said. What kind of supervillain name is that? Buttercup asked, raising an eyebrow. Yeah. And I thought Mojo Jojo was a bad name. Bubbles added. Blossom could have sworn she heard someone sneeze but played it off as a trick of her mind. Still, this doesn't sound good. Her parents did recreate the chemical X and learn some things about it. However, it wasn't like the first bottle they made. So as far as they know, the first bottle of chemical X was lost forever. Listen, girls. Whoever he is, you need to be careful. If this person knows about chemical X, then it could turn out bad for you. The professor said. Don't worry about us. We'll just beat up the guy behind this so. He would never make another bottle. Buttercup said, smirking. I don't know, Buttercup. We are all over the news and paper. If this guy heard of us, then he might be prepared if we got after him. Blossom said. Oh. What if he has a way to take our powers away? Bubbles gasps. Blossom and Buttercup thought about that and had to agree. If the MSTR did make more chemical X, then he must have found a way to cure anyone with it. That even could mean them as well. You have a point there, Bubbles, Blossom said. Bubbles looked confused before smiling. In the meantime, let's see if your powers have grown. I'm still watching over you girls when you're here. The professor said. The girls nodded. Buttercup threw her cup in the sink, being careful not to break it, as they follow the professor towards the lab. Meanwhile, Claria giggles with glee as her father handed her the paper with the Powerpuff Girls' names on it. She knew what it was, an autograph. She got an autograph from the Powerpuff Girls. This was the best day of her life. Her father had another surprise too. He gave her a box and she opened to find her own fusion fall clothes. The same kind of clothes that the Powerpuff Girls wear. Only, hers was purple. Halloween was coming up and she had a feeling that lots of girls are going to dress up as the Powerpuff Girls. However, she now had a way to look different. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. She said, hugging her father. Her father laughs before patting her back. She rushed to try on her clothes, hoping she could tell her friends about it later. Her father sighs before sitting down. A person comes up behind him, but he doesn't move. How long? He asked. The person stops and sighs. She's not ready. The person said. No, I mean how long are you going to stay gone? He cleared up. Until we know for sure if the three girls are on our side. She said. Claria's father shook his head and leans back. They have been helping us keep the town safe. They even give us a chance to do our jobs. The girls are trustworthy. He said. And yet, they appeared out of nowhere. Marcus, you cannot just ignore that. You know that, she started. I'm not part of your group anymore. And I don't want Claria to become you. You use me, Madeline. He said. I love you. I truly did. But we could let anyone know. I had to hide Claria from the others. You know it was forbidden for us to have a child. She said. Was it? Or did you decide not to be a mother? Marcus said. Marcus, Madeline started. No, Madeline, we are not going through this again. Claria is happy being who she is. The Powerpuff Girls are on the side of the law. Whoever they are doesn't matter. The Mansons are already trying to force the girls out of the town, and Mr. Manson is going to run for mayor. They don't need your group trying to question the girls' origins. He said, standing up. Madeline sighs before taking a step back. We are always watching, Marcus. If the girls show even one thing about them that we questioned, powers or not, we will take action. She said, disappearing. Marcus sighs. He couldn't believe he fell into that mysterious group. And to think he fell for the leader at a young age. He had no idea what he was thinking. But he wasn't about to let the group take his daughter or stop the Powerpuff Girls. They always question people on where they came from and where their loyalties lay. However, he knew that some people have their secrets, and are not very open about them all the time. He may not know where the girls come from, but he knew that didn't matter. Wherever the girls came from was his business. Back with the girls. Blossom caught both Bubbles' kick and Buttercup's fist. She grips them before tossing both of them away. Buttercup recovers first before flying back to Blossom. Both girls started to fly around the room throwing punches and kicks. They were stopped when Bubbles cut in, causing a three-way brawl to start. The professor watched, writing down notes as the girls fought each other. He notices that Buttercup was the stronger one, while Bubbles seemed to copy what the other two did. Blossom was more careful. She was planning her attacks before attacking. It was clear that girls had their own fighting styles, but that could be used against them. That's enough, girls. He said, over the speaker. The girls stopped before exiting the training room. They all walked up to the professor, who looked over his notes one more time. All right, girls. From what I picked up, you three might work as a team, but there is one problem. You each have your own fighting styles, which can be used against you. He said, surprising the girls. Buttercup, you're all about beating up your opponent, never really planning anything in advance. However, that can be used against you. If you go all out, then you'll tell everyone who you fight and it will cause some people to fight like you, not caring about the dangers. I highly advise that you try some planning before attacking. He said, shocking her. Blossom, you clearly follow what I said well. However, you spend too much time thinking instead of acting. If someone were to catch that, they would find more openings than you. I'm not saying to fight like Buttercup, but try to plan a little less. He said, surprising her. Bubbles, you pretty much copy your friends. Doing that will show that you have no style of your own, and will be seen as the weak link to the team. You need to find your place so no one would try to drive you away from them, he said, causing her to go wide-eyed. In all, you girls need to make sure that you have all your bases covered. The last thing you girls want is for someone to find out and use it against you. The professor finished. The girls looked down, seeing his point. Before they could think on it more, the professor notices the time. And we have to cut this short. He said, surprising them. He pushed the girls out of his lab and towards the front door. He handed them a bag before stepping back inside. "Have a nice day, girls. I'll see you tomorrow," he said, shutting the door. "What with him?" Buttercup asked. "No idea," Blossom said, confused. "Oh. Candy," Bubbles said, opening her bag. Blossom and Buttercup opened their bags and saw the candy as well. "Well, I was feeling a bit hungry after that training," Blossom said, pulling out a ring pop. "No kidding," Buttercup said, pulling out a Butterfinger. "Yum," Bubbles said, sucking on a lollipop. With that the girls flew off, not seeing a car pull up. Ms. Keen steps out, seeing the girls flying away. She shakes her head before walking up to the door. She rings the doorbell and saw the professor step out, wearing a suit. "Hello, Kathy," he said, smiling. "Hello, Patrick," she said, smiling back. "Glad you can make it," he said, stepping out. "So, how long are you going to keep this from the girls?" Ms. Keen asked. "Well, the professor said, unsure. It's one thing for me to keep the girls' true identities a secret, but you can't hide this from them," she said. I know. I just want the girls to trust me, is all," the professor said, sighing. "And they do. You have told me that the girls make you home feel lively when they come over," Ms. Keen said. "They do. If only I could adopt them," he said, sadly. Ms. Keen placed a hand on his cheek and had him face her. "The girls love you, Patrick. I can see it. Even if they are not yours, they are your girls. You have watched over them since you first learned who they were. You never betray their trust and they have been warming up to you. Maybe it's time you stop hiding," she said. The professor smiles, glad that she understood him. "I'll think about it," he said, having Ms. Keen kiss his cheek. "Now, we have a date to get to," she said, getting in the car. The professor chuckles before looking up into the sky. "Thank you, girls," he said before getting in. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and Phantom Fan 21 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.